Gold is really on a tear lately, huh?
Well, what do you expect? Central banks around the world have been running the printing presses at full speed. I suspect gold will be surpassing $2,000 an ounce in short order.
Yes, and I'll bet it's only a matter of time before the president issues a new executive order to confiscate the American people's gold like they did in 1933.
You don't really believe that, do you?
Well, yes, that is what my local coin dealer informed me. In fact, he recommended I invest in what he called unconfiscatable gold coins.
Hee ha hee ha hee ha. Did you say unconfiscatable gold?
Yes. These gold coins carried a bit of a higher premium for their extra added protection. Besides, Hugo Chavez just nationalized all his gold mines in Venezuela. Isn't it better to be safe than sorry?
Forget about that communist idiot in Venezuela for a second. Answer this: is America really a free country?
Yes.
How can America really be a free country if private property rights can be instantly dissolved by presidential executive order or an act of Congress?
Well,
when Congress writes laws concerning the 50 states, it must relate to commerce between states. Generally, laws not involving commerce between the states automatically default to Congress's legislative territorial jurisdiction.
Territorial jurisdiction?
Yes. U.S. territories. Washington, D.C., Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, Guam, and American Samoa, etc. These federal territories are separate from the 50 states of the Union and are totally within Congress's exclusive legislative jurisdiction. The sneaky thugs in Washington, D.C. have been for decades trying to usurp their constitutional shackles with laws that only vaguely differentiate between the two. The term United States of America and the term United States carry very different meanings with distinct jurisdictional divides, but decades of legislative deception have hidden the truth from most Americans.
I'm a little confused. How about an example?
Sure. The 50 states of the Union each have their own government bodies and state laws, don't they?
Yes.
But a quick read of the 1933 Emergency Bank Act would lead most people to believe that this law applied to every individual, corporation, and every bank in every state of the Union, no matter what. This, however, could not be the case because Congress does not write the laws for the states.
I see.
To illustrate Congress's very limited legislative authority, let's take a look at the state of California for a moment. Some jurisdictions in California have legalized the sale and use of medicinal marijuana. This, however, is a federal crime, as all marijuana for whatever purpose is illegal in the federal realm.
That's true.
The federal government, while not happy about this, has been totally powerless to stop it. So as long as California is not peddling marijuana across state lines, then they are well within their right to do whatever the heck they want within their borders, because the people and the states are sovereign and free.
Hell yeah.
And if the Congress, the President, and their federal authorities can't end medicinal marijuana use within the state of California, what makes you think they can criminalize the private ownership of physical gold outside of its territorial jurisdiction as well?
I guess they can't. But then why did so many Americans volunteer to surrender their gold in 1933?
Good question. I would say a combination of ignorance, fear, and a sense of patriotic duty mainly. Most people didn't realize that anyone who kept their gold in a bank vault was subjected to confiscation through the third-party bank. It was really the banks that were under federal mandate that were the quasi-enforcement authorities. They were obligated under the law to report all privately held gold stored in its vaults.
Those damn banks.
Yes. Then there was a wealthy fellow by the name of Frederick Barbour Campbell. You see, Campbell was a New York attorney at that time with a lot of gold stored in Chase Bank's vaults. He knew the 1933 Emergency Bank Act could not have applied to him, or it would have been unconstitutional. Campbell knew he was technically immune from the act. His bank, however, Chase, was a participant of the Federal Depositors Insurance Plan, and for this reason was subject to the Act's reporting requirements. Campbell miscalculated and the bank surrendered all of his gold against his wishes.
That would have totally pissed me off.
Yes. Campbell was so pissed off that he sued Chase Bank for surrendering his gold against his wishes. The very next day he was federally prosecuted for failing to voluntarily surrender his gold under the Act's individual reporting requirement. The government saw Campbell as a threat against their gold power grab and needed to make a quick example of him. Campbell was the first person ever charged during that time with this particular violation.
So what happened to Frederick Barbour Campbell?
Campbell's case was eventually thrown out on a technicality.
Really?
Yes. You see, the Act was improperly signed by the President and should have been signed by the Secretary of the Treasury instead. Ultimately, the prosecution of Campbell failed because the Act was technically never properly authorized. However, the authority to seize his gold was somehow miraculously upheld by the federal court anyway. Sounds pretty criminal, don't you think?
Those criminal bastards.
So do you know what the moral of the story is?
Territorial jurisdiction is a bitch.
Yes. But more importantly, in order for privately earned physical gold to remain private and outside of the ever-reaching arm of the federal government, do not deposit your gold or silver with any third-party institution which at a moment's notice will completely disregard its fiduciary responsibility to you by surrendering your property against your will based upon any legal or illegal directive from the idiots in Washington, D.C.
Makes sense.
Make no mistake, those thieving bastards in Washington, D.C. as well as the corrupt federal judges that enable them do not follow laws. They spend all day thinking of ways to defy them.
I feel like putting my fist through the wall.
So next time you talk to your coin dealer, tell him while fear-mongering may help sell pricey coins carrying hefty premiums and a false sense of security, there is no such thing as confiscatable gold or silver. There is, however, a shitload of volunteers born every minute.